Just days before a man is set to stand trial for a double murder in Green Bay, a new criminal charge is added to this case. In a First Alert update, Brittany Schmidt explains why.
In an orange jumpsuit with handcuffs tied to his belt, 49-year-old Richard Sotka walked into his final pretrial hearing Friday in Brown County Court, knowing another charge would be added to his case.
We're in agreement that there should be an additional bail jumping count that will be added.
Sotka was originally facing 2 counts of first-degree intentional homicide and 1 count of bail jumping. He is accused of killing his girlfriend and her friend. Rhonda Sigelski and Paula O'Connor were found dead inside a duplex on LK Lane in January of 2023. Investigators say Sotka's GPS ankle monitor placed him at the scene of the crime before he left town. He was arrested in Arkansas and brought back to Brown County to face charges. Here's the concern in regards to the charges brought up by both parties in court on Friday.
Count 1 is an intentional homicide involving a victim, RC. Count 2 is an intentional homicide involving a victim, PO. And then count 3 is a bail jumping. The problem would be, and I don't think this would happen, but if a jury found, for example, Mr. Sotka guilty of count 1, but not count 2, of one of the homicides, and then in count 3, the bail jumping, which one did it relate to?
In an effort to avoid confusion among jurors while deliberating, both parties agreed to add another bail jumping charge, essentially pairing it with each murder charge. The state also made sure a plea deal, denied by the defense, was put on the record.
There was an offer from February 13th, 2024, and an offer memo that was conveyed to the defense. It's my understanding, I want them to be able to at least indicate on the record that they have that offer. They talked to their client about it. It's rejected because, for sure, as of today now, the offer is withdrawn.
Is that correct?
Yes.
Sotka agreeing himself.
Yes, I agree.
Jury selection is scheduled for next Tuesday. The trial is scheduled for 8 days. In Brown County, Brittany Schmidt, Action 2 News.